Hi there, I'm Paul Skeldon, editor at Telemedia, and I'm joined by James McNab from Basebone here in Dubai. James, thanks for joining us.
Good to see you again.
It's good to be here in the Middle East.
First time?
It is our first time in Telemedia terms. Yeah, I guess you come here all the time though. So tell us a bit about the sort of Middle East and North African market. What's happening here?
Well, we're operational in Egypt, Bahrain, UAE, KSA and Qatar. Every market, and Oman, every market's unique and different. To some extent overly regulated, and then to other extents not as overly regulated. You are impacted in terms of the number of sign-ups that you can do if you're doing the subscription model. But like most markets now, it's about what is the quality of content, what is the consumer doing with that content, what are your engagement stats, and obviously advertising through Google, Meta, and trying not to touch affiliates. But they're interesting markets. Every network's unique. You still have your knee-jerk reaction, so if somebody gets a message or a service that they don't want, they'll complain about it and may force us into different flow types. But overall, it's an interesting and challenging market, very different to what we traditionally have South Africa or the European markets.
So it's interesting you say it's sort of over-regulated and under-regulated. That's hard to navigate. So how do you sort of work within that sort of setup?
I think as an industry overall, the regulations change all the time. And the type of advertising that you do has changed. I mean, let's take the UK became over-regulated and no one really wants to do it because of the fine systems. If you take, say, South Africa, we've got the Wireless Application Service Providers Association, which is a self-regulatory body that puts together a code of conduct and expects its members, which is to follow that code of conduct, but equally the network operators expect you to be a member of WASPA if you're going to be offering services to the consumers through MVAS. So you've got that, but then you go somewhere like Kenya, where you have the Communications Authority that give you a guideline rules. The network operator, being Safaricom, also gives you a guideline rule. But then it's like, well, there's not really much sitting there. They actually need a code of practice like South Africa has, so that we all are operating on the same thing. Because it's a different opinion, a different viewpoint from whoever you're talking to. And even the networks themselves sometimes sit and make a decision on something without looking at the overall overarching context. Then you come to somewhere like the UAE here in Dubai, and you've got a wellness division of the government. And if you complain to that, they pick up the phone and will ring Etisalat or do and say, oh, well, you're not treating this customer very nicely. What are you going to do about it?
On an individual customer by customer basis. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's very regulated, isn't it?
So in certain cases, you've got to have read in the terms and conditions of your disclaimer on the advertising and with the price points. But how do you navigate it? Every network's different. You either have an overarching rule set like South Africa where it works, and then you have the different business rules per network, or you have places like the Middle East where each network is very, very different. They all have different rules, different ways of operating, and you just have to have a good compliance team. And if you do it right, and you're not trying to be sneaky is the wrong word, but if you try and just understand it, it sounds stupid, but it's something that they do, and if they're doing it across their digital arena, then it sort of kind of works, and you forget that it's there. But I have people that look at that.
Yeah, well,
and they pull their hair out.
Yeah. So I guess if you've got the right team in place,
Yeah.
you can keep on top of all this, and it's a really successful and excellent market to be in. Brilliant. And one last thing while you're here, how have you found our debut Dubai World Telemedia show?
Came at the right time, particularly after Telecoms World pulled out and went to Saudi. The fact that it's brought a huge following here, and it's not the same people that we see in Marbella generally, and it's not the same people we see in Barcelona. I think the team's found another little niche show that Telemedia can fit in, because we're all here to talk about business and generate new revenues and build and grow. And as long as the Middle East is a market for the MVAS Arena. I think this show's here to stay for quite some time. It's great fun.
Excellent. James, thank you very much.
See you later.